we want to call on a young man that had been introduced to us earlier. He had to cut short his trips to Rwanda and Egypt to be with you this morning. I want to call for his talk. He'll be speaking to us on becoming a university student. I know all of us anticipate becoming university students one day. Am I correct? Is there anyone that wants to become a university student? All right. So, he will be coming to us to speak on that because he has gone through the system and he has just freshly baked out of the university. He will be in a good position to speak to us about becoming a university student. So, with joy in our hearts, I want us to clap our hands as we bring on Mr. Samuel Akinnuga. He's also the immediate past president of the Redeemers University Students Association. Let's put hands together for him as he comes up. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Please, let's stop acting dull and all that. Good morning, everyone. If we are all considering ourselves as future leaders, I believe we can do better. Good morning, everyone. If I'm talking to the presidents and general secretaries of the United Nations, if I'm talking to governors of states and senators of the Federal Republic, I think we can do better. Good morning, everyone. And that's better. I want to first thank God for this very big privilege. That's what I see it as, making to be part of this program. I also want to congratulate you for being privileged to be part of this auspicious occasion, because I'm confident that this moment will change your lives forever. So without further ado, let me just go straight into doing justice to what I've been asked to do here. But I actually want to implore us to open our hearts and open our ears to listen and take to heart everything that will be getting to be to gain from here, everything that we'll get to gain from this program. I want to believe that nobody was forced to be here, so please let us just open our hearts to be a part of this program. My name is Akinnuga Samuel. I guess I should say I'm an ex-student of the Redeemers University, and I've been asked to speak to us on what it takes to becoming a university student. Yeah, so I guess it would be proper to ask every one of us that how many of us actually look forward to becoming students of different universities, whether here or abroad. Okay, so everybody wants to go to a university, because I believe we are actually not going to university because everybody goes to university. We're actually going to university or to different universities for various reasons. So I want you in a few seconds, think about yourself in 2 years. Maybe many of you are in SS3. Maybe we have SS2 students here. Maybe we have SS1 students here. And everybody looks forward to, in 1 or 2 years, being an undergraduate, as they call us. But it should be for a reason. Why would you want to become a university student? You can ask yourself, is it because the parents are telling you to study medicine or law or fishery or agriculture or whatever course it is? Or is it because you see your friends going to universities? Or is it because you believe that that is the norm in the society? You want to go to a university because you believe it gives you some kind of status symbol? Or is it that you want to go to university because you just want to do something, you just want to waste time, you just want to go to some place, maybe away from your parents, you want to be free? I believe that there are so many reasons for which many of us will be seated here and then thinking, why do I actually want to go to university? Or maybe you are saying to yourself, you want to go to university because you want to get a degree. Maybe that's a good place to start. So I'll just be telling us various things really in the line of becoming a university because you want to become a university student because you want to do something with your lives. So please, as I said earlier, just open your hearts and please let's learn from everything that will be said here. I wouldn't want to bore us with so much of a long speech or a list of things I want you to consider. Maybe I'll say 10 things to consider to become a university student, or 21 keys to become a university student. I won't bore you with all those lists. I'll just talk to you because I believe we connect more. I'm younger than many people here. Maybe I'm seeing students from Zion Baptist who are older than me. I believe I'm also seeing students from various schools well represented here that are far older than myself. So let's just see me as your junior and just say, what does this guy have to say? Just listen to me. First and foremost, you know obviously that in Nigeria, to get into a university, you have to do what first? You must pass something. What's that thing called? Everybody here who wants to go to university must at least know that. What is the first thing you must pass to get into a university? Nobody knows that. Wait, how many SSP students are here? You want to get into a reputable university in Nigeria. What's the prerequisite exam that you need to pass? You can say it. You don't need to be overly right. I just need to know that somebody has an idea or somebody knows what it is to become a university student. He said, please can we clap for him? I'm actually very sure that many of us knew the answer, but we're not very shy, we're not bold to say it. But maybe that's where I should start from. Future leaders are always very bold people. Because when you stand tall in the midst of people who are not just Nigerians, they want to hear you speak and be confident about what you're saying. So please, in the course of this discussion that we'll be having together, I want us to put off every form of shyness or timidity. Let's be bold, because there's no wrong or right answer. We're just here to discuss and improve on ourselves, really, as it is. So you need to pass the WAEC exams. You need to pass the JAM. You need to. I hope we know what it means. Okay, I'm not here to teach though, but I hope we all know what these things mean. You know what JAM means. You know what WAEC means. Please, let's be future leaders. We know what that means. We know what that means. So if I should just point at anyone to tell me what JAM means, I'll be confident to get the right answer. Is that what you're saying? So no, we're not confident again. Okay, who can confidently tell us what these things mean, these exam bodies mean? Okay, the JAM is the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, and WAEC is West African Examination Council, or WASEC as some people call it, West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examinations. So that's what they are. Don't forget from today. So I'll be talking about three major things in the course of this study. And please, as I said, I would only implore you to open your heart. I won't be here for so long. To become a university student, first and foremost, you need to begin with the end in mind. What did I say? Should I calm down so I could be more... Is it better this way? Okay. Okay, so I was saying, the first thing I want you to note, if you ever consider yourself becoming a university student or a graduate in a few years, is to begin with the end in mind. What this actually means is, for you, you might just see yourself wanting to become a university student or a graduate in a few years because you want to get a degree in whatever course it is. But beyond just getting a degree, there must be something you actually have in mind that I believe that by the time I have passed through the four walls of a university, this is what I really want to achieve with my life. So you're seated here now, looking at yourself as a doctor in future, looking at yourself as a lawyer in future, an accountant, or whatever it is. You're supposed to have in mind that you actually want to go into the university to get a degree and do something meaningful with your life. You don't see what that thing is now. I don't see myself as a doctor right now. I don't think you see yourself as that right now because you're not in the university yet. But what you can do where you're seated is to picture yourself in 5 years. I want to have achieved a lot of things. I want to have had a BSc degree or an LLB degree or whatever degree it is to become something that I can become, that I can use to better my life. Your parents are obviously looking at you as people who they have invested so much in, and so in a few years they want to get what they call a return on their investment. They want to be proud to call you their children. So they won't be proud to call you their children because you went to university and you got a degree. They won't be proud to call you their children because you just went to one school somewhere, a private school or a federal school. They won't be proud of you. What they'll be proud of, the important thing they'll be proud of to see in you is the fact that you have actually made something out of what you went to university to get. So as prospective university students, or graduates really, you should look at yourself and picture yourself right now and ask yourself, whether it is you're coming to the Redeemers University, after 4 years in the Redeemers University, what do I want to do with my life? I want to get a BSc in mass communication, and I want to be a journalist, I want to be a writer. So that's what you should picture now. The second thing I want to talk to you about is becoming a university student is not something that dawns on you. You don't just become a university student. So you must always have something that they call a plan. Please, what did I call it? Future leaders, what did I call it? Future leaders, what did I call it? I'm not talking to future followers. I'm not talking to future servants. Future leaders, what did I call it? Seems like people here are consider themselves to be future leaders more than those here. Is that what I'm to be getting? Future leaders. Future leaders. What did I call it? I know it's an idea of what a plan is. How many of us have heard of the word plan? Future leaders. Future leaders. How many of us have heard of the word plan? I can see just one person's hand up. Okay, 2 people. Future leaders. How many of us have heard of the word plan? Okay, we'll be here for as long as we want to. We'll be here as long as you want us to be here for. But to make it shorter, I just need us to be very responsive. We are very active. We are more active than many people here. We are about 14, 15 years old. So how many of us have heard of the word plan? By mistake or maybe in your study or something. And how many of us have actually taken some time to look at what the word means? Okay, maybe a few people. I won't bore you with a very long definition, but I will explain certain things that will make you understand it better. When you have an ambition, as I believe many of us here do, right? We all have ambitions, right? We all want to be doctors and very rich people in future. Maybe that could be an ambition, to be a rich person. Yeah, but you don't just become what you want to become by accident. So consider yourself as a university student already. Okay, for example, say in the Redeemer's University. There's only one thing that would make your life very meaningful as a university student. And that thing is a plan. I'm sure many of us have actually heard about it before. A plan isn't just something you keep in your head and say, okay, every day you wake up at any time, you go to classes as you want or wish, maybe you eat any time, and you do that. People don't become successful university students like that. So you should always have what they call a plan. A plan is, you are now a university student. Every single day has something you want to do. So you don't just wake up by accident, or eat by accident, or go to classes by accident, or do anything you want to by accident. You should have what you have written down, maybe like a timetable for yourself. That every morning I wake up by 6 o'clock, I have my devotions, I study my books, I prepare to go to classes if I have one around the early morning, the early hours of the day. Maybe in the afternoon, this is the time I must go for lunch, this is the time I must study after school, this is the time I must go to bed every single day. This is the time I must discuss with friends on what I have studied. This is the time I must consider to be my social time. Okay, this is the time I can interact with friends and be a bit social. So you don't be all the, you don't kill yourself in quote now. So university students should have a plan. So every one of you now should have a plan. So you don't just stumble into university the first day by accident, and before you know it, 4 years, 5 years, or maybe 6, depending on the course or your course of study. And then you're looking back, and there's not one single thing you have achieved. What's the first thing I talked about? Future leaders. What's the first thing I talked about? And then secondly, the third thing I want to talk to you about is about your knowledge. Who knows everything here? Who knows everything here? Future leaders. Okay, can I ask a question? How many of us actually consider ourselves to be future leaders? Or maybe I'm just giving you the name, you don't want it. Okay, so how many people consider themselves to be future leaders? Okay, who is a future leader in this hall? Raise your hand. Okay, so I'll hold you by your word. Anybody that is not responsive will be punished somewhat. We'll all formulate a punishment for anybody who's not responsive. So, what was the first thing we talked about? And then secondly, you begin with the end in mind and then have a plan. Then I want to talk to you about one very funny thing. You have to know everything. How is that possible? Someone may ask. Can I ask a question for a price? How many countries are there in Africa? Just be bold, be a future leader. Please clap for him. I didn't ask you to do that because he's right or because he's wrong. I asked you to clap for him because he was very bold. So who has the contrary answer? How many countries are there in Africa? $52. Please clap for him. Okay, we have two answers. So who are those for 54? Who are those for 52? Who are those for none of the above? Future leaders. There are 54 countries in Africa. There are 52 countries in Africa. Future leaders. Okay, I don't admit to you know. I won't admit to myself that you know it. But just raise up your hand for one of the two. 54, 52. There are 52 countries in Africa. There are 54 countries in Africa. Okay, without wasting much of our time, there are 54 countries in Africa. But I didn't actually ask you to clap for them because they were right or wrong, or it's because of their boldness. But how did they get to know that there are 54 countries in Africa? Are you being taught African studies in your secondary schools? Are you being taught African studies? Are you being taught countries of the world? So how did they get to know it? Maybe because they studied somewhere, or they read it, or they heard it, right? Please answer now. Okay, maybe they read it, they stumbled upon it somehow. So they got to know that there were over 50 countries in Africa. So as a university student, you should know at least everything. I don't expect you to know everything, really. Or nobody expects you to be right about everything. But when you are asked about something, you should be able to say something about it. You may not be a science student, but when you're asked about some things in chemistry, for example, if they ask you, what do you know about chemistry? At your levels, they would like to believe that, you know that, okay, chemistry, they talk about chemicals, right? They talk about bondings here and there. They talk about all those kind of things. And they ask you, what about literature? What's literature about? Nobody expects you to know everything, really, but expect you to know something about everything. Okay, so who is the president of Nigeria? I'm sure everybody knows that, right? Is there anyone who doesn't know it? Please tell us so we'll teach you. Anyone who doesn't know it? Okay, so everybody knows the president of Nigeria. Everybody knows the governor of the state of Osun, right? The deputy governor, their local government chairman, or the senator representing your district or constituency or whatever it's called. Nobody. The honorable representing your constituency. But you know your class teachers' names. And you know your principal's names, right? Okay, so really you actually know all these things because you probably care to know them. And it's not sleep, you're not taught these things, but you get to know them by discussing with friends, right? By reading about them. I'm sure who knows how old Buhari is, the president of Nigeria? Nobody does. You said? Did you say 30 years? Okay, he's over 70 years. You said? It seems you have a lot of political scientists here already. But it's okay, please start for yourself. Yeah, so you need to know everything. That's really the main point. Not everything as in everything, but everything as in something about everything. So everybody will want to judge you. For example, you come for an admission or an interview for your admission, and then they ask you, say something about this thing. You might not be the most brilliant, you might not be the smartest, but your boldness to say a little about that thing you know will actually give you that edge. So if you want to become a university student, you must consider yourself as someone who is ready to know everything. And again, I said, not everything as in everything, but everything as in what? Everything as in what? Yeah, so we've talked about how many things right now. Okay, let's talk about the fourth one. I want you to also look at yourself as a university student already seated here. But there's something you must know, which is the most important thing. And who knows what that thing is? It's not knowing your country's president. It's not knowing your state's governor. It's knowing somebody. I don't know who's that person. Can you say? No, not God. Yeah, you know God, yes. But you must know yourself. Because in the university, you don't meet your classmates in secondary school in the university. Or who does meet their classmates in the university? Nobody. Is it possible to meet all your classmates in the same university? Is it possible to meet all the students in your secondary school in the university? Is it possible to meet all the students in the secondary schools around your secondary school in the university? So what are the people you meet? You meet people from Sierra Leone. You meet people you have never heard their names before. You meet people from different cultures and tribe or ethnic groups. You meet Igbo people in your school. You meet Yoruba people in your school. You meet Hausa people in your school. You meet foreigners in your school. So if you are in the university, you can't be a university student on your own. You obviously have to interact with these people, right? And if you're interacting with these people, you believe there are one or two things that they can rub on you as a virtue or as a vice. There are good things you can learn, there are bad things you can learn, right? So, if you consider yourself as a university student, you would be prone to meeting people every single day, people you have never met in your life. But if you're not careful, you might get to learn the bad things faster than the good things. So to help yourself, you have to ensure that you're always on the good path. And the only way to do that is to know yourself. And so when you know yourself, you will be able to attract people of your kind. How many people want to be bad people in university? You want to be a cultist, you want to be a drug addict, you want to be a chain smoker in the university. But many of you, and I'm sure nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants to be a waste to their parents. Many of you here want to be very big people in future, right? And so you want to get to university, you want to be someone that your parents and your siblings can be proud of. But if you're not careful, you can learn bad things. And bad things are more easily imbibed than good things. But the only thing that can help you is when you know yourself, know the kind of places you cannot be, know the kind of people you cannot meet, know the kind of things you cannot do. Those things will really help you. So please, I'll be concluding in a few seconds, but I want you to also take some time when you go back home to look at these things we have talked about. I won't tell you about how to be the smartest person in the university, but I'll tell you how to be the most real person in the university, the most original person to yourself, because really, if you lie to yourself, then you've really missed it. Who knows this quote? To thyself alone be true. Complete it. Literature students. To thyself alone be true. Future leaders. How many of us know that quote? It's a Shakespearean quote. How many people know it? Okay, it says, to thyself alone be true, for to no other can thou be false. So can we say it to ourselves? To myself alone can I be true, for to no other can I be false. Can we say it? Okay, future leaders, let us say it to ourselves. Look at somebody in the eye. Say, sister or brother or friend. Say, friend. Friend. To thyself alone be true, for to no other can thou be false. Can we say it again? No, friend. To thyself alone. I can't hear you. Friend. Friend. To thyself. Okay, so that's something I want you to remember today. So don't remember my face, don't remember everything that I've said if you really want, unless of course you want to. I want you to do. But remember that last thing you've said to that friend. And that's something you should say to yourself. So let's go through what we have said. We talked about becoming a university student. But what are the first things that we must do? First, we must what? Future leaders. Secondly. Thirdly. Know everything, but not as in everything, but as in what? And then the fourth. Okay, can we clap for ourselves? As much as I want you to remember these things that you have just said to yourselves, I want you to also remember the last thing that we said to ourselves. That we can only be true to ourselves, but to know that can we be false. So be a true person in the university. Don't lie about your personality. Don't form. Don't form like you're the president's daughter or the president's son. You can have a very good charisma. But do not be a fake person. Let people know you for who you are. So when you need to be helped, they can help you. When you need to be commended, they can. So please, it's on this note that I'd like to thank you once again for listening. And maybe you should clap for yourselves for the time you have spared me. And I'm confident that by God's grace, in a few years, you'd all remember that this moment changed your lives. So let's thank God once again and let's clap for ourselves. Thank you for listening. God bless you.